This week on the Push Pull Legs podcast, we talk about deadlifting, squatting, and do we really need to? Also, the job interview. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? To me and Dan. Three, two, one. Yes, I'm surrounded by bridles, Dan.
Hey guys, welcome to the Push Pull Legs podcast with myself, Dan Meek.
And me, Tom Hall. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, Tom said he was in his parents' office. It looks like an S&M room. I don't think it's an office. It's your parents' S&M room, Tom.
Yeah, I'm in my parents' little office, like little bit space thing.
He's got like chains and stuff hanging behind him, like leather whips and straps and stuff that like you could probably tie someone up with, like some kind of torture thing.
I mean, what they get up to when I'm not here, it's
well, that's what I mean, mate. That's what I mean. You think it's the little office? I don't think that's what they call it.
Truthfully, they're bridles for horses, which I just had to explain what one was to Dan.
For horses, sure, but they could also be used on humans. Of course they could. Yeah, why couldn't they be used on humans? That's all I'm saying.
Fine, yeah,
why do they keep them inside in the little office? Keep them outside.
It's a long walk to the stables, mate. You got to walk all the way down the garden. So
no. Yeah, so they have to go all the way to the stables to get them, to bring them back.
Yeah, to bring back.
Yeah, so leave them there. Yeah. Anyway, Tom's a bit grouchy today, guys, because he's had a long day at work and he's feeling down about how hard he's working and how tired he is.
No, I'm commuting at the moment, and it is long. I normally commute, but this is a longer commute.
So what do you do when you commute? Just sit down on the train, isn't it?
It's just longer.
Is it just sitting down, is it? It's just sitting down, though, is it? It's just sitting down, is it?
It's just the fact that there's like more modes of transport to take over a longer period of time. You people who commute for over an hour, like what you doing? Like just move closer.
Or just get.
I'm only doing this till Thursday, but yeah,
it's just pretend that you've got a job like me and just work from home.
That is fine, sounding incredibly attractive at the moment.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's why he's so grouchy. He's just jealous of me now. He's just grouchy.
Guys, yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna just start on my online training massively. Screw all the clients I have in person. Yeah, just online. Be fine. I'm gonna charge £10 more than Dan just to cut them up. So.
Yeah, why not, mate? You might as well. Everyone else does. You might as well. They just forget the 5 years of work that goes before it.
No, don't need that.
No, you don't need that, mate. No, you don't need that.
I will be slightly angsty and annoyed. Also, I'm sitting down. I normally do the podcast standing up, moving around. So Dan can't. He chasing me around the screen. Yeah, he does it sitting down the whole time. I don't know.
I'm lazy, mate, because I'm lazy. We've established this. That's why
I do it standing up so I can move. So this is very unnatural for me. Everybody's seen me present. I move a lot. Very strange. Because basically this is what it is. I'm presenting to Dan.
So this basically is going to be, the roles are going to be reversed here. Tom's going to be the grouchy, ranty one.
Probably, yeah, 100%.
Go off on one and be pissed off. I'm going to have to be like, oh, calm down, mate. All right.
I've got water, and this.
Cold brew coffee with almond. Who are you? Who even are you?
It's good.
Oh, almond milk coffee. Come on. You were like drinking oat milk coffee the other day, and I was draw the line at that because you told me it's amazing, but I know that almond milk coffee isn't amazing because I tried it myself.
No, it's good, mate. I'll get you some. When you come to London, when you bring my shoes back, thief.
Like I stole them. You left them in my house.
No, Dan stole my other shoes. You stole my my flip flops. You literally put my flips up on.
I actually literally, but they are identical to mine. So
yeah, so that's fine.
Let me off.
Right, so we have things to talk about. We've already stumbled around for 5 minutes without even doing anything. We're meant to do a short episode. Can't see that happening, but all right. What's been going on in your world as well? I haven't even realised. I haven't really spoken to you. You
don't even care, mate, do you? You just came on here straight away moaning about your life and how tired you are. Nothing, to be fair, though. Nothing's going on.
Nothing
crazy,
great.
So there you go. Yep, new YouTube video out. Go watch it if you haven't watched it already. Other than that, nothing crazy's going on, mate. Just cracking on, Just working with my clients. They're all doing amazingly well. We've got our photo shoot in November.
All of them. You want to call out one?
Oh, there's loads I could call out. I've just got to say they're all doing amazingly well. Yeah. But yeah, no, everything's all good. 100%. Everything's all good.
Yeah, I've got some. What we got? Good luck to anybody who's got me for interviews on Thursday. If you listen to this, If you haven't listened to it,
fuck me, he's going to be in a bad mood. So just bring him a coffee and a cinnamon bun, and hope for the best. That's all I'm going to say.
9 till something, until we decide to finish. I've already got a bunch of names, so you might be listening. Don't know what's going on.
Well, I'll just be sat at home, mate. I'll wake up, have a coffee, and just sit at my desk to do it.
Brilliant.
Don't worry about your hour and a half commute or whatever you've got, mate.
Canary Wharf. I'm Canary Wharf on Thursday. It's fine. It's even busier, and then I fall asleep. It's awful. I'll be fine. But I'm at cricket on Friday, so drunk.
I'll be good.
I will be drunk.
You will be drunk.
I will be drunk.
Cricket.
Not gonna lie. I'm with 5 old uni friends. I'm gonna be drunk. Yep. Fun, mate. Fun.
Drowning your sorrows, mate, innit? From your fucking commute, by the sound of it.
I'll be back in London by then, so we'll be alright. The commute will be back to about half an hour.
Nice.
Bearable. That is. That's my cut-off point. Half an hour to 45 minutes. Oh, Jesus. That's enough time for me to be by myself. Daniel's smirking at me. So you're like, you are unbelievable. Brilliant.
First world problems.
I know, it's unreal, right? Right, we're going to talk about some of the workshop stuff we've done previously. Dan wanted to talk about, not sure why, but yeah, just bringing ideas to the table, wouldn't you, mate?
Well, yeah, I just knew you'd be disappointed if I had nothing to say.
Yeah,
so
I was going to be. I was waiting.
And I was waiting for you to do
it. I was like, I could have done this, and thought about it, but I shoved the podcast.
Mate, do you know what you could have done? You could have done it on your commute, which is long enough.
Yeah. Could have got work done. Brilliant. No, what I was doing was research. I was listening to somebody else's podcast. It was about the NFL, but it doesn't really matter. So that starts.
So were you learning how to do a good one?
How to do a good podcast. Exactly. Yeah. How to get
let me know when you've cracked it. Yeah.
One subscriber. That's how many we need. So we're going to talk about. What was it? You want to kind of vaguely talk about how within some of the workshop stuff we did, and watch your space for any of that kind of stuff to happen again. Will be kind of I wrote down ongoing assessments and what we mean by that with clients, especially for one-to-one or online basis. And then you want to kind of relay into why you shouldn't train like a bodybuilder, and maybe deadlifts and squats and stuff aren't all the be-all and end-all. And then I'm going to run about
I just think there's an assumption that I get it sometimes from clients when I write a program for them, and they're like, "Oh, why are back squats like my program?" And like, for example, I just had a client who signed up, and on his training plan, he was previously doing his back squats to like a bench or to a box.
Yeah.
And that's how he was doing his back squat. Now, I have not seen his back squat video yet. He's got to send it over to me. But straight away, my assumption is that his depth probably isn't great. There's a reason he's squatting to the box, which is maybe that he can't reach good depth, so he's got a marker there to go with. So straight away, I would probably go, right, for him, I would go straight off the bat, I'd go, right, leg press, Bulgarian split squat, probably as the two go-tos in terms of his leg, like quad dominant movements. But the question you would get would be, well, why don't you back squat with someone? Or why don't you front squat? Or why don't you do a bilateral squat or whatever? And it's just this assumption that you need to do these movements. Same with deadlifts, like you need to do these movements to somehow see progress. And I was thinking the other day, like a lot of my clients recently, I've actually not programmed back squats or deadlifts because I don't think that they can perform them to the best of the ability that they, that's safe and can load them properly and that I'm happy with, to be honest. And I think that you can learn the movements and you can learn other things by doing RDLs. You can get great hamstring glute development doing RDLs. You don't have to do deadlifts. You can still get good back development doing lat pull downs, rack pulls, things like that. I just think there's this obsession with having to do certain exercises that just annoys me a little bit. I just thought we could talk about it. Like,
I think the big two, I just did a workshop today, and it was on the bilateral progressions of the lower body, right? So hinge movements, so all stuff from hip thrusts to deadlifts in that progression, that continuum that we talk about in our workshop, right? And then the progression of lower body push stuff, which is all bilateral squat movements. And then I did actually say I have 15 regular clients right now, and one of that 15 is using a Olympic bar to deadlift, and that's not even from the floor. So that's one person who's vaguely deadlifting with an Olympic bar. That's from a small block. And then of those clients, I have one full back squatting, and then that's it. Nobody else is doing that big movement, because there's all way too many different variables. Also, with the lad who's box squatting, is there? By the way, people might walk in, or clearly the dog is wanting to come in. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear you, dog.
I can hear you, dog. That's Robbie going crazy, by the way. I've realised I could probably just let him in. But
yeah, you could just let him in, couldn't you?
Could just let him in.
But yeah, no, I think it's one of those things where, like, it's saying that you have to deadlift or squat to get strong is like saying you have to cut carbs to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, like, you can squat and deadlift and get strong, just like you can cut carbs and lose weight, but you can also eat carbs and lose weight. So you can also not do squats and deadlifts and get strong. There's just the assumption that you have to do them, or, you know, the variations of them have to be alongside your program or whatever. It just annoys me a little bit. I don't know why. It just annoyed me this week for some reason. Much like the same with bench press and stuff like that, a bit more, but more so the deadlift and squat gets talked about more than anything. About leg day, you have to do that to train legs, you have to do that to get strong, or to be powerful, or to jump higher, or to run faster, and you just don't have to at all. And like you said, I think from a personal training point of view, and again, this comes down to demographics. This is our demographic, because our demographic is probably somewhat similar, more similar than either of us are to bodybuilders, for example.
Yeah.
It is about getting them to move freely with a good range of motion and remain injury free. Like, that's the predominant, like, the goal for a lot of people. Then it's obviously get strong and that sort of stuff. But a lot of people just fuck themselves up back squatting, deadlifting, and it's completely unnecessary for them, because, like you said, they're not powerlifters. They're not trying to break records. They're not trying to do all that sort of stuff. You know, they're just people that want to get stronger and fitter, you know, lose a little bit of weight, retain some muscle, build some muscle potentially. And you just don't need to have to program back squats, deadlifts, you know, into your program to make progress. And I think the quicker that PTs and anyone who goes to the gym gets out of that mindset, the better, because you're just ruining your relationship with training. Because again, if you're programming them for people and they just don't like them, like, how many trainers ever ask their clients, or how often they ask their clients, do you enjoy this exercise? Do you enjoy this training session? Do you enjoy this? Do you enjoy that? Because if they come in hating it, then they're not going to want to do it. Like, granted, not many people like doing Bulgarian split squats, but again, it's about finding the things that they do enjoy. And maybe they love back squatting, right? Maybe they love back squatting, and that's great, right? But you've got to make sure and teach them and coach them to a place where they can then do that properly, not just throw it in because they enjoy it. So again, there's obviously a caveat to that, but
it's interesting, because those two exercises that are held, like barbell back squatting and barbell deadlifting, they are held at such high esteem, yet they're the two exercises that beat you up the most from doing. So kind of, I don't know, longevity, but intensity of training is very hard to upkeep with those two things. And generally speaking, if I would be doing any kind of strength based with somebody, like if I'm training powerlifters, for example, I'm only going to pick one of those to be heavy each week, and the other one's not going to be, because I just physically, if you're not on gear, I feel like you're going to be completely beaten up from a session doing deadlifting or back squatting, or they're going to be so far apart. Like, have to give you 5 days rest for you to actually hit the intensities that probably are applicable for you to make progress, which is very tough when you get to like an intermediate advanced level. That is just an inkling on your lad that's squatting to a box. Does people understand the difference between box squatting and squatting to a box?
Yeah, so it said on the plan to a bench, squatting to a bench. So I assume that's why I assumed it was. It was only, like I said, on his initial thing, which is why I assumed it would be not a box squat, for example.
Because like I think there's a misconception of people squatting to box and then box squatting is two different things. Especially probably box squatting was popularized by Westside Barbell, really. And
so squat to bench. So I'm assuming it's so not. It doesn't say box squat to bench.
If anybody says box squat, then probably not. Box squatting is like driving your hips as far back as possible. You're kind of hitting at a, I don't know, very 90-degree angle, lots of hip flexion, and it almost looks like a good morning box squat, and you're resting off that bit. And it's usually like an angle. Squatting to a box is generally you're going to in between or a safety marker where somebody has no kind of proprioception of where their kind of butt wink starts, and you're probably going to somewhere in between there. So there's safe depth, as it were, as a trainer would say. This is a safe depth to go to. We can't squat any deeper than this. We probably can. No, we definitely can. But this is the depth that I'm going to take you to, which is perfectly legitimate. It's absolutely fine, but it's a safety measure, and you're not going to have any rock back. I generally say if I'm squatting to a box, that's their kind of, it's their visual cue, and I will only want about 30% of their weight to ever go through that box. And they're going to keep their torso position exactly the same, unlike a bot squat. Look it up, people.
Yeah, there's just like a massive disconnect between seeing, a back squat or seeing someone do a bilateral movement not particularly brilliantly and just taking it right back and going, right, can you, in terms of single leg variations of those movements where you drastically reduce the load, it's easier to get into the right positions.
Not even that. I was going through the bilateral ones today, and with the discussion of this is always a caveat, is a bodyweight squat a progression or a regression of a light goblet squat? Is it? Don't know. Can it be? Depends on perspective. Personally, I think a bodyweight squat is actually harder than maybe like a 5% loaded goblet squat. Just based off, counterbalance, counter movement, giving yourself a set of abs, basically being able to obtain something called the canister position pretty much straight out. And you can go from there, but then so within that, so you got kind of a bodyweight squat, a goblet squat, then you can offset it. All three of those you can do squat to some sort of depth, like bot squatting. So there's 6 variations straight out that you can progress however you like. And then you've got, so from the goblet, there's no reason why we can't really load that quite heavy. I mean, we've talked about this previously, right? We're quite big fans of smashing out goblet squats at a pretty decent weight. Was it like 25 to 35% of your body weight? And then this is one of the tests with John Rushin, right? Just to smash, was it 25 reps? 20 reps?
Yeah, good luck with that.
That was the challenge. 25 reps at 25 to 30% of your body weight. Go do it now, guys. See if you can do it. It's tough. Very tough.
It's tougher than you think it would be.
It is tougher than you think about. Yeah, so
everyone thinks it'd be easy.
For you, so what is that? 25% of your body weight down? About 10 kilos?
10 kilos?
Yeah. You're already there, Jesus.
So predictable.
I know. Then you can go into... Then you switch stimulus into like front rack stuff. Start using kettlebells to manipulate. And then that can still be just anterior loaded more than anything else. Or biggest cue for people's goblet squats as well. And elbows flaring all over the place. Just tuck them in. And then make sure your elbows hit the inside of your knees. Please. Do that, please. Clears everything up. Loads of stuff. Clears loads of stuff down there. Pet peeve. It's like, where are these elbows going? All over the place. And then they're hitting valgus or their knees aren't going anywhere. Just slot them. It slots lovely in. You get a nice bit of varus. Hip opens out.
Slots perfectly, doesn't it?
I know, it's perfect. It's like built like that. Then you go on to like front squats because they only really, it's like front rack, kettlebells. You used to do a lot of those front rack kettlebell stuff, especially to a box as well. I remember one of your clients, Henrik, doing them. It was good.
Loved it.
And then you go into like barbell front squats, which I was doing today. Dan refuses to do at all times. Robbie's back. And then if your gym has them, then like safety bar squats. Start using some of those weird bars before you start using a barbell on your back. Camber bars, that kind of thing. Safety bars are like amazing. Especially with I think what people decide over front squats is they aren't being able to hold a clean grip, which I get. So go to a safety bar, 100%. Do that before you back squat, because the chances are you can't hold a clean grip. You're going to suck holding that back squat grip as well, where that scap is sitting.
Yeah, I just think barbells are so unforgiving, and people are just so quick to try and stick them on their back or pick them up, and they just don't understand how difficult the technique is. There's nowhere to go. Whereas even if you did an RDL but you did it with dumbbells instead of a barbell, you've just got more movement. Like your body is more likely to move where it wants to move, whereas the barbell is quite fixed. Same with dumbbell pressing over barbell pressing. So there's no different with back squatting. It's no different. Like if you had 2 dumbbells and you're going to do reverse lunges, you're going to be able to move in a far better way than if you just stuck the bar on your back and you can't really go anywhere. And people need to understand that degrees of freedom thing, where like the amount of shit that can go wrong and how fixed the bar is, and how your body is trying to create space while you're putting, a barbell on its back or picking it up or whatever.
It's the shearing force angle. Like it's the further away the barbell is moving from your lower back. I mean, like horizontally, that's the more shearer force that you're going to go to your lower back, especially this massive in deadlifting. And that's the issue for when people hurt their back, is because the barbell is not set right underneath their lower back the whole time, or as close to. It generally travels away from it, and then it's something called shearing force, which is only going to create tension because your back is basically trying to draw, or your core is trying to draw the barbell back to you at all times, but obviously that takes effort. So that's when you start to buckle. It's not good, no bueno. So...
No.
Yeah, Dan. Also,
That's
what
mate.
we want to talk about in terms of bodybuilding, you can 100% can make the same progress, because we reverted it as soon as me and you trained together last week. We just did machine-based exercises. We did front squats and back squats. So I wanted to front squat, and Dan didn't want to do either of them, and I just wanted to front squat. So.
It's not even about whether, like I said, with the train like a bodybuilder, it's not even about whether you use machines or stuff like that. It's more a case of like the way that they train or program, for themselves. And I just think that I'm really moving more towards with myself anyway, a full body approach. Like every time I go in the gym, I'm doing, like you say, a quad dominant, a hamstring dominant movement, a push and a pull, and that's probably. That's it. As long as I do that, and I rotate through vertical, horizontal, all that sort of stuff.
You don't rotate, then.
No, not ability-wise, anything like that. I mean,
you don't
rotate the exercise.
Plane. Shut up.
I just think it's one of those things where, like, people, again, when it comes to everyday, people that you're training, it just is not necessary for most people to do like certainly more than 2 exercises for a body part.
Yeah,
for most people, like on a session, you don't need to do 2 chest exercises. This is most people I'm talking about here, because again, based on like minimum effective volume or whatever, I don't know, MEV is it, whatever they decide to call it. I think it's like 12 sets of body parts. So if you train 3 times a week, if you do 3 times a week and you do 4 sets of chest on each day you train, that's enough. Like, you don't need to do 2 exercises. And I think that if people realise that, I think it's also that thing that people are scared to do it in case they lose their gains. Like, it's easy for me to sit here and say it because I'm doing it and I'm actually seeing myself get stronger and get bigger. I was until I started playing more sport and having to reduce weight training. But I was doing 3 sessions a week, full body, and seeing strength gains, seeing gains in muscle from doing it. And I think it's that thing of when people don't do it, there's the assumption, I don't want to lose my gains, I want to do it, and you just have to trust it and do it, and you realise actually you can make good progress doing it. And I think once people have done that, and once they have seen the progress, they actually prefer it to doing like a push day or a pull day or whatever. And I think that's the beauty of full body work and not training like a bodybuilder per se.
Yeah.
I think it's really useful.
Perfect, mate.
Basically, that's what I wanted to say. Do you know what I mean?
And on the caveat, there's nothing wrong with chasing those big lifts. Especially, so today I ended up teaching like a 45-minute deadlift seminar based off the fact that I just wanted to go through. There was a lot of maybe questionable deadlift patterns, which is absolutely fine because it probably just hadn't been taught. And it did highlight the fact that obviously in terms of teaching some trainers, but maybe it's seeking advice from, I realise I'm putting myself in that category, but advice from people who have probably competed at some sort of level, especially within those big lifts. If you want to go and do those lifts, go see someone who's probably spent some time underneath the bar for a while, because I realised probably when probably I was training with you, Dan, about 3-4 years ago. I think we probably sucked to where we can like do stuff with barbells now, in terms of creating tension, understanding where the barbell should be at different places, and gripping it, and blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff, and certain cues that really really work and get you set in position properly based off your anatomy. But we were sucked back then, and we were probably only 2-3 years trained properly, ish.
Yeah.
Not even that. But it was probably when I started training with John Clark and realising and spending every single session with a barbell in my hand, that you started to get it. But that was because I had a goal of going to compete, and that was it. So if you want to go and mop up, then go find someone who maybe has done that, spent enough time under the barbell so they can respect what you're doing, that kind of stuff. And they'll be able to make quick, easy decisions based off your anatomy and how you set up and what's going on. And you'll be like, this is the best. This is what happened when I saw Clarkey, and when we saw Tony Gentlecore as well for the first time, and Dean Sumset. He switched me to semi-sumo and straight off, and then pulled a PR there and then. We're like, all right, well, why haven't I been doing this, and why has no one told me about this before?
Yeah.
It's a moron, clearly. But it does happen. Seek advice from that. Yeah, 100%. And if you're in an area, then reach out to Dan, and then he'll coach you. You're like, no. No, but
it's cool stuff to geek out on, and I think you just see a lot of people struggling with it, and just like I said, people sort of say all the time, like, "Oh, I'm getting low back pain, I'm doing this." Well, stop doing it then. Like, you don't have to deadlift. There's just so many ways to do things, and I just think that we're just so ingrained to, like I said, do things because we think we should, and that's just what I wanted to talk about, basically.
You also want to talk about small isolos. So Dan is gorging himself on.
Mate, I tell you what, this is your fault. This is your fault because ever since it is your fault because you were talking about it was a podcast before a podcast. And you were like, "Oh, you were eating a mini Magnum," and you were like, "Oh, these are the way forward. These are so good," because you get so much choice and variety. So then, ever since then, on the food shop, we've been getting them because we get Twisted Rizzle anyway.
Yeah.
And I've always been partial to a Twister, but I just have one. But then now I'm like, okay, I'm getting like the Haagen-Dazs salted caramel, peanut butter crunch, like the Magnums, and now I'm like, well, I'm gonna have 4 different ice creams of an evening for 400 calories, and it's like I get 4 different ones.
Yeah.
And I'm just like smashing through them. It's just ridiculous. I'm like, no, this is not good. So I'm not buying anymore after I've finished it. Buying anymore.
Well, also, have you done because Haagen-Dazs do the like mini tubs as well, right? And you get like 4 different flavors within the mini tubs.
Yeah, but it's the stick, isn't it? It's just easy on a stick.
It's easy on a stick, but they're good as well because they're just like this little craving. They're almost like as small as like when you go to the theatre and you get like a little ice cream like that, and you're like, oh, that's good. Just enough to. Then I realise I'll probably eat all 4, but yeah, probably should have bought a big tub. But still, it's good, man.
Something about the little ones. It's just
it's good. Yeah, the little things. They're 100%. I'm
really
all over that. So the other thing you wanted to talk about, mate, was I've written the job interview on my notes.
The job interview.
Because someone asked you. Is this?
Yeah, one of my clients came to see me today. We trained and whatever, but we just got on to the topic, I suppose, of like where I suppose we're at, or I'm at, or whatever.
You and the client, was this a relationship talk?
Yeah. Where are we at? Where are we going with it?
What are we doing here?
Just like a bit of a, just like we get on quite well. We've known each other for a long time. Like probably one of my first ever online clients, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
From BTN?
Like, probably. Yeah, from BTN days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, legit.
If anybody didn't know, Dan used to work at BTN.
Huh?
If anybody didn't know.
BTN. Oh, if anyone didn't know. Yeah. Ben Coomber. Yeah.
Exactly.
So my first ever client from one of my first ever clients from back then.
Wow, your prices have rocketed up since then.
Yeah, they have. But yeah, no, he's a great guy anyway, and I would never say that to his face. And he's probably listening as well, so I take it back. Yeah. I didn't say that at all. But yeah, no, we just had a good chat and a catch up, and we always sort of chat over, what we're doing and how things are going with work, and because he's somewhat into fitness. I suppose. Obviously, having me as a coach, you'd have to be well into fitness.
Well
actually.
Into fitness.
So yeah, we were just talking about stuff and life and stuff, and he just sort of said, how things going and like, you know, what plans have you got and stuff. And I just realised I just don't have any plans for, like, I suppose, the future or what it holds. And I think when we chatted about it, we realised it's because over the last 3 years, I would never have seen myself in the position I'm in now, kind of thing. Like, you just wouldn't ever have thought you would get to this place. It's just a case of being self-employed, and we talked about sort of being self-employed and having a certain mindset for it, and just some people just aren't right for being self-employed, because you have to be able to work hard, you have to be self-motivated, you have to be intrinsically motivated, all this sort of stuff. And it was just an interesting chat really about it all, and it just got me thinking. That you were sort of talking about, you know, in 5 years' time, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Like, I've got no idea. But that's also doesn't bother me, because I know that 5 years ago I never thought I would be here. So I don't really stress too much about, you know, where I'm going to be. But we were chatting about, I suppose, where the future lies, I suppose. And I was talking about how I think when you get to a certain point with fitness and nutrition, you don't need to learn any more about fitness and nutrition. Like, for me, it's about becoming better with business, or understanding business a bit better, or helping other people understand their business or fitness or nutrition and how to do all that sort of stuff, rather than like doing a PhD or, you know, learning more about flipping mitochondrial biogenesis and that sort of shit. Like, no one cares.
Mate, that's what I get off on.
Yeah. But no, because obviously we talked about you as well a little bit, and we talked about obviously like the workshop.
Oh, my ears were burning.
Talked about, like, I suppose with you, how I suppose you're going down, you know, the education route, and more with third space. It's not just about doing PT, right? It's doing that next step and going to the next thing you want to do. And it was just interesting just talking about it, because I just thought we've never really, I suppose, chatted about it.
Me and you, or me and your client?
No, me and you. Like,
right.
I suppose in terms of, you know, like, I think like future goals and where people want to be. And I'm not saying like we should talk about it, because again, I don't think, like I said, I don't know. Like, I've got no clue. But it was just interesting chat, because I just wondered what your thoughts were, Tom, and where you see yourself in 5 years.
I see myself in 5 to 10 years.
Doing an hour and a half commute every day?
No, definitely not. I'll be buying the flat next door, clearly, to where am I working. Or just not working. That's my plan. Have enough residual income that I don't have to work. That'll be the plan.
I mean, that sounds like a foolproof plan, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, the educational route, 100%. Especially within CPD. It's... I love training clients, 100%. I'm good at it. Like, yeah, humble brag there. But there's a certain amount of... I like speaking in front of people, and sometimes they listen, only sometimes. And for some reason, some of the crap that I come out with, people apply every now and again, or seem to take notes on. So that's the kind of stuff that I do like doing. But then I feel like, I mean, we have briefly chatted about this, Dan. Obviously, you've forgotten. Thanks, mate. In terms of probably mentoring, probably the future will be bigger in that. Not in like an applied sense of we're going to get you leads. Yeah, let's do that. Like, because the fact is that me and Dan, well, both of us have had full client lists for a while, and retention is quite high. I'd say our retention rates are probably top, 1% in the industry. And there's got to be a reason for that. And probably we need to be able to discuss with trainers that want that kind of retention rate, what we're doing and how we're applying that and what's happening. And that's probably where the route should be. That's outside of third space, I guess. So maybe over the next 5 years, there'll be more stuff with you and myself in terms of mentoring coaches and mentoring trainers would be the ideal route. And we've discussed this before. It's probably the route that we probably should go down. And
I think we're good at. So. I think it's one of those things, like you said about the leads and stuff. I think there's a lot of people out there who are a lot better at that than I would be, or than you would be. But it's interesting just talking to I said my client, and like this year I've invested already so far £2,000 in courses that's just 2 courses, £1,000 each.
I have no idea how much Third Space have invested in my courses.
Yeah, like, but again, like but the thing about those courses is that neither of them are about nutrition.
Yeah.
Neither of them. They're about understanding, I suppose, a business, understanding how certain things work within a business to make things better. But like you said, like I'm not going to tread on people's toes in terms of saying that I will work with people to get them better leads or to make them have, give them a better business like plan or anything like that. But I tell you what, we can do, our strength in terms of mentoring is we can absolutely make someone the best coach they can possibly be by going through with them what it takes to coach, why what things you need to fundamentally focus on, what your overarching, I suppose, work ethic needs to be like, all these sorts of things that you can't teach people in a group environment or in a course. That requires one-to-one, like actual solid work. And I've actually got one client that is working with me directly just with that now, as like a bit of a test, almost a bit of a dip in the toe in the water with it. And then 2 of my other clients who I do the nutrition and training for, I also help them with that side of things and being better at coaching and stuff. And it is literally like we chat on the phone and I go, well, this stuff's worked for me, and I've not fucked up on it, so maybe try it because it seems pretty foolproof. It's not. What it isn't is going, spend £500 on Facebook ads and see what happens. Like all the ads you see on. It's funny, isn't it? I just find it so funny as well. Like, you always go on Facebook, and I always see Facebook ads for people telling me how they can make more money for me off Facebook ads, and I'm like, how ironic is this? Are you just going to tell me to tell other people how to make fake money off Facebook ads? Like, you just think, I just think fucking see them all the time.
I got hit with a bunch of like Instagram and Facebook ads. I think it was today as well, and it was like that. And I was like, why is this person targeting me? How have I come up in this person's like? Do you need more clients as personal trainer? It's like,
mate, they're really going for it. Like, they're really going for it now because I think they know that a lot of personal trainers are desperate for clients, right? I think that's the thing, and I think that's the one thing, like you said, in terms of mentoring that I think we would help with, or we would go into, is that side of things, is to teach people how to actually be a good coach, and like you said, not have to get loads and loads of leads because you retain your clients. Like I just said, like I've had a client from B10 Days. That's when I first did online coaching. Like we're talking. This is when I was at Third Space, like just fucking ages ago. Still my client and gone. Still doing all those things, and I think it's one of those things where that stuff is important. Like, again, just looking at my clients now, I've got 3 that have been with me for over 2 years. I've got another 4 there that have been with me for nearly 2 years, like 18 months, going on to 2 years easy, because they're still on old pricing that I've got. So that's how I know. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've been with me for such a long time, and I just think there's elements to that, which, again, like I know if you were personal training, you've still got some clients you train now that when you used to train from before.
Oh yeah, I've got clients that I've had for 5-6 years.
And I had a client that when I trained at Third Space, as soon as I left, he didn't want to train with anyone else, and I did online training with him for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where that skill in itself means you don't have to stress and worry about brand new leads all the time. And I think that there's this obsession with wanting new leads and new inquiries all the time. And actually, if you put your focus into your current clients, they shout about you, and you don't need to stress as much. 100%. Again, like the amount of clients I've had this year off the back of a couple of my clients just talking about their progress and how they've never achieved this success before ever, but now they have. That has been amazing, and like you say, talking about your client stories and showing the world what you helped them achieve, and being open about it as well, I think is huge. I think people worry about trying to find a silver bullet all the time. Silver bullet? Probably not a silver one. Golden bullet. Is that right? Gold's better than silver, but silver bullet sounds better. So yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I just think they're trying to look for that magic thing that just doesn't exist, and that's where they look at these ads for stuff, and that's where maybe in the future there'll be we'll be able to help people more with understanding coaching.
I think especially that's what me and you probably do. Myself, Third Space is growing like hell, so I will probably be intertwined into something with them, especially within course creation and content writing with our very own Mr. Josh Silverman. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I might be tied with him for a while, especially with some of the stuff that we're looking at doing. And if over the next couple of years, we could see that maybe all of the courses that we run first space wise may not be just internal. There might be the possibility of doing these externally. So yeah, well, that could be exciting. 100%. A bit more, maybe traveling around, coaching the third space way to other people. The third space.
As long as you don't have to travel longer than an hour and a half.
Longer than an hour and a half. That's my radius. If I get to stay overnight somewhere, fine.
That's all right. You've got to take like a spa hotel there, yeah? It's got to be a spa.
That's, if anybody's hiring us out for just a day rate and then expect me to come back and down in the day, nah, that's not happening.
No, you got to pay for the hotel as well. Oh,
definitely hotel. Don't mind where it is. Not fancy. This is fine. Let's give us just a bed. A bed, please, so I can nap.
Easily pleased.
Naps are important to me, big time. Yeah.
Clearly.
All right, mate. We've gone over my allotted time of 40 minutes. Well, it's about half.
Yeah, you need to get to bed, mate. Come on, you got an early start tomorrow.
I do have an early start. I got a long day tomorrow as well. I'm catching up with Mr. Andrew Johnston, who's back in the country as well. We're moving to Australia very soon, so I might go over to Australia maybe next year. Andrew doesn't know that, but yeah, sure.
That's a long commute.
That's a big commute as well. Yeah, he works at the gym.
Sure. Not sure you survive that one, mate.
Be fine. Yeah, it should be fun. We've got cricket. It's good. It's a good week. Ish.
Nice, mate. Well, enjoy it. I hope you're not too tired by the end of it.
I've got to go pick this up, mate. Yeah, I won't be. Any other? What's happening your weekend? Nothing.
Nothing, mate. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I saw a good. I just wanted to tease you about. I was so tired. I didn't even bother giving you any banter about the. You were swimming and you were very red. I'm red most of the time because it's too sunny. And then were you doing some sort of like Baywatchy hair flick when you were getting out of?
Laura filmed me.
Yeah. It was like Dan did Baywatch and like coming out of how you're underneath the water and then you come out and you flick your hair back and get out your eyes and like it was so good. It was
supposed to be ironic, mate, because I didn't have any hair.
Yeah, but it was just the fact that you couldn't get the water out your eyes of your face.
Yeah.
It didn't even bother me about the hair. I was like, I get that, but it was just kind of like, Dan clearly hasn't done this very often. He was like, I've got so much water in my face.
Now I know why they go straight back. I went to the side, and actually on one of my eyes, it didn't all come out, and I was like, that really hurts.
It's about right.
Yeah. Not my finest hour.
No, it was good. It was nice. You're human, mate. That's your human side.
What can I say?
Alright, mate, I'm going to put my cold brew coffee back in the fridge because it's kept me awake to speak to you, unfortunately.
Worth it, mate, innit?
Worth every second.
Hope you get some sleep, mate.
Yeah, I will. Got my long commute in the morning. Alright, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next week.
See you later.